Have you ever played a game that you absolutely loved, but you also can't stand? I'm sure you have, and with all my heart, please tell me that game in the comments, because I want to know all about it. But since we all probably have experienced one, I want to tell you about that one for me. Emily is Away, the first one. And then you may immediately ask me, Axel, isn't that a free game? And to that I say, yes, you're totally right, this is a free game. But as part of a series, it's not all free. This is one of 3 games, and the other 2 cost money, and I'll be making reviews about all of them. So this is just the Emily is Away series, and not connected to any of the other ones. So the point of this game is that you text this girl Emily, whether you're into this girl or not, she's your friend from high school, and you can chat with her over the years. That's the very basic plot, I suppose. But let's get into the aspects of it. Like, all of them. First off, this interface is really awesome, very nostalgic and very fetching. It's super loud, so you probably want to turn it down on your system because it jump scares me. Anyways, aside from that, I love that you can somehow do a bit of customization. You can change your background to your typing, and you can change your font color, and you get to pick a new icon every year, or you can keep the same one if you like that one a lot. And they range over a good selection of interests, so you can probably find something that you like. You have movies, you have bands, or silly animals, or something boring like senior year if nothing else catches your eye, or if you hate everything else. You can name your character whatever you want, and then have a separate username for your profile on the chatting app, which is a simple detail, but is really fun, and it makes it feel like real life and all that. Fun fact, in the chat list page of all the NPCs and things, your Steam friends, if they're online, they can have their own randomized page during Chapter 1, and I find that to be a super cute detail, and it adds a lot to the immersion. I will say, I was disappointed because the game, if you're just watching it, makes it look like you can actually type whatever you want. But aside from picking your dialogue and the thing that you pick being different than what's being typed anyways, because that's just RPG dialogue for you, you don't actually get to type it out. You don't write the actual words. You have to physically hit the keys, but you don't get to choose, because sadly, we're not that advanced. But the dialogue options are all actually pretty good. Like, the actual dialogue is straightforward and cheesy, but it's really not that bad. At its worst, it's just kind of poorly written and is like painful and awkward, but that's more due to the accuracy of the story because it's a awkward and painful story. But even then, we gotta admit it. Sometimes we can all be pretty poorly written. Note, there is a fair share of bad words in this game, which sucks, but I guess that's kind of to be expected. But you can play your character in a lot of different ways. And the options are good enough that it may almost even kind of feel like how you naturally talk. Because of that, the dialogue options are generally more neutral, and they're really interchangeable. I tend to find that in most games like this, there's the nice or neutral or mean option, so it's not quite like that in this game. There's a fair and pretty real amount of care and interest that you can show in the conversation you're having with Emily, and a variety of responsibility and maturity that you can let your character have. And I actually really like that you can not like Emily canonically. You can stonewall her, you can choose to ignore her or not talk to her, or not give her the time of day when the time comes up, which again, she may deserve. Like, there are so many ways that you can play this game that will make her look nuts for trying to come on to you so hard, which I find funny, but I also really like, because that's real. It's not always you pining after that Emily in your life. That Emily could be weirdly pining after you, or looking sadly over her shoulder at you after turning you down because, well, it's her world and you're just living in it. Anyways, so this game has 5 chapters or segments that are all under 10 minutes. Chapter 1 is the end of high school, and every other chapter takes place a year apart through all the years of college. And to that I say, dang, long time in between. Sounds awkward. And it is awkward. It's supposed to be awkward and different, but somehow that makes sense. The distance feels like the kind of conversation you'd have with a girl who had a major crush on you, or how you act to a girl who you had a major crush on, or even if you do have a major crush on, or how you would talk to someone that you were close with back in the day and maybe that you care a bit about, but you also, like it or not, you have a life now. A real life, and a life away from her, or her life away from you. Whether you are just spending your entire life waiting for her to text you so you don't seem like the creepy one, or you have simply forgotten and she's just trying to make herself known to you now, it can be seen from a variety of perspectives that all make sense. I've not been in this exact situation, but I also get it. And it's a story about a doomed love, so it kind of makes sense. No matter what you do, who you like or don't, what you do or don't say, where you go or don't go, who you approve of or not, who's to blame, you're screwed. You're never going to be good enough, close enough, right enough, or there enough for her. So, worth it, right? I mean, at first time playing this, I would have said no. But after playing all the games, not playing the games for a while, and then coming back to the first one just now, I kind of changed my mind. It's a perfect intro to the series. It's the sad version, the unfulfilling version, so like maybe it's a good thing that this is the free one. But it might be the most real version. It's definitely not my favorite in the series. The second one takes the cake by a long shot, but for how simple this one is, it's extremely effective. The super early 2000s aesthetic alone is not just what I grew up with, but it's one of the aesthetics I love the most. The clunky lettering, the overharsh brights of interface colors, the severe lack of aesthetic was the aesthetic unto itself. The music references, I love those bands, or hate them, and that adds passion. And this era of music is just like, we got Gorillaz, we got Census Fail, Muse, or even the Black Eyed Peas reference in the game. It's hilarious. I don't even like the Black Eyed Peas. Like, send me back to that time or something cringe like that. I don't know. But not only that, the character details that you can observe just from their little bios and your message history is immense. The bios give you such a look at who these people are, who they've become, and what they've been, and what's going on in their lives. Because, first of all, we have Brad, who is one of Emily's potential boyfriends, who from the start has always been brash and overconfident. He has crass words in his bio, aggressive, and he listens to Green Day. He gets angry and wild and he can be flat out awful in his bios and yelling at people after being abandoned by his band or after his breakup, which is funny because he says everyone abandoned him when Emily says that no one hung out with her either after their breakup. So maybe there was some confusion going on over that because it seems that neither of them had friends after the breakup. I don't know. Anyways, over the chapters, he goes from thinking he's all that to being like really aggressively lovey-dovey to being completely unhinged and then a bit apologetic. Like, you can see that he grew up a little. But it makes sense that he and Emily would fight so much, but the same can't be said for Travis, her other potential boyfriend, because Travis seems chill and outgoing and held back, and the respect and sadness of his dead father, like he seems stuck. I feel that what we see of Travis is a good indicator that Emily may actually be a large source of the turmoil and dysfunction in these relationships, because if they broke up, of course the others sided with Travis over Emily, because Travis seems really kind, even through his sadness. It's hard to imagine that anger, and maybe Emily brings it out of him, but she's the victim, because of course she is. And then we have Mike, who, once you go to college, takes the role as your best friend. We see his arc of being the goof-off jokester, party guy, the one who know everyone, the one who would introduce you to Emma, and we see him slowly shift from like that frat boy persona to becoming a flat-out workaholic. He has very little left of him by the end of the story, from being the most obnoxious to most serious character, and it's only seen through his bios, which change in color and dialogue vastly over the years, and what songs he listens to and what bands he likes even as well. And some of your characters' dialogue too will kind of show a little bit about Mike and how he's changing, and like, good for him for growing up, but he could have stopped in chapter 4. Like, he went too far, and it's saddening. Like, we've seen that this happens, that people just lose themselves like this. Or Julie, Emily's friend from the first chapter. Hers is actually the one that I like the most. She starts off as that, giggly, flirty girl who's like, all the girls hate me because I kiss her boyfriend. Like, that kind of girl. And then she gets a boyfriend. And she becomes devoted. He's her life. She's grounded. She has a view for the future. And then they break up. And she becomes solemn. She becomes empty and lost. Not even returning to be a bit of a shameless flirt. She's different now. She's the one who I think ends up putting Census Fail in her bio. Her or Emma. Either way, love both of them for that. Whoever did it, top tier. And then Emma, the girl who goes from being like the actually nice girl that you become friends with in college and could have a crush on or not or whatever, to being, radio silent from you. And maybe for a good reason, depending on what you pick. There is a path that you can take that you pretty much just go behind her back and abandon her, but even if you don't, she drifts away. Why is that? What happened? Why did she move on? And to that I say, some people do just leave, even if you did nothing wrong. And this is all just like background detail. This is only stuff that you see if you like look into the bios, which out of all the like 7 people I played this with, I was the only person who cared about the stuff. So unless you care, you're not going to see that. And all of these characters, as blown up or exaggerated as they may seem, I've met at very least one of every single one of them. Even our lead lady. Because last we have Emily. A character who I absolutely cannot stand. But you get why she's that bug in your head, or why she'd keep going after you. She truly is a girl. It seems that she has predetermined that nothing is going to make her happy. She will never be satisfied in life, no matter what you do or anyone does. The same can be said for her in pretty much all of the games. The character Emily, she's doomed. She's doomed herself, and she cannot be fixed. She claims that she does not need to be fixed, and she will not let anyone do otherwise, all the while whining about how she needs to be fixed. I am not an Emily apologist, and I really hope no one else really is, because she's broken. When she says she's a mess, she's right. But she's not saying it for the reason she should be. Travis and Brad, they would both be fine without her, and I just hope that they figure that out. Even Brad could have matured without her, and want to know how I know this? Because he does if he never ends up with Emily. His ending still stays the same. Emily is a void. She's a black hole of a being, and she cannot stand to see you be happy. She cannot stand to see others be happy or move on and live. But if you don't, she'll claim superiority over you. She nitpicks your habits. She says she hates everyone, but then gets mad when she's abandoned by everybody. She can't stand to be told that she's right or wrong. She blames everything on you no matter what. She expects you to fix everything. She expects you to understand her when she'll never tell you what's going on. She lures you in with that mystique, and that is who she decides she is in that moment, or who she decides she wants you to be for her at that time. We're drawn in by those people who try to back us into promises we don't know if we can make, even though they will be the first to abandon them and the first to point fingers and say that it was our fault, or say we abandoned them first. Go or stay, it isn't you she'll pick. Whatever you say, it's not the right thing. Whatever you do, it will never be enough. Wherever you choose, it's too far from her. Even if you were close, it would probably still be too far. She couldn't even keep the ones who were close to her. However you decide, it's not good enough. Loving her or not loving her is not good enough for her. Letting her go isn't enough. Trying to keep her, I feel like she's somewhere all of us have been. The void of desperation, and the long haul, the void. Whether we open our eyes and realize that, unfortunately, we are Emily, or that we've been the player forever subject to her, unless you're the one who reaches out, but by that time it's too late. We missed our shot because we didn't fall for one of her black holes. Like, I know we've all been in one of those places. It's dramatic, and as disappointed as I was when I first played, I'm not anymore. I somehow found this game cathartic this time. Maybe because I knew if I want to, I could just boot up the sequel and get a happier ending. And that knowledge can give me greater appreciation for this game and what it has to say. But still, this ending no longer aggravates me because it's right. It's real. I'm glad you can't have her, but I'm also really glad that you get the choice to in all the other games. And despite the fact that I cannot stand that you are in a perpetual state of saying, like, at 18, oh, we're adults now, and then at 22, okay, now we're real adults now, and that weird age of refusal to mature or grow up, and that you're never really an adult. It's so annoying, but there's one thing I find the most real about this game. What Emily remembers. I have literally played this game about 6 times prior to this last time, and it has still shocked me which things she will remember that you said, which things she'll latch onto. Every time it said, Emily will remember that, I was like, that? That's the thing you picked to remember? The randomest compliment, the randomest detail about your other crush that you may or may not have, the most niche detail about your job, maybe a slight jab, not the obvious compliments, not the obvious insults, maybe not even the argument, just that one phrase. Talking, and especially over text, it's like that, isn't it? People are like that. You're always surprised at what sticks. It's never what you think it is. Overall, you never know what's going to be latched onto. Who's going to spiral? You never know who's going to improve. You never know who is going to be that Emily. Never there and never gone, but always remembering. She is away after all. And how could you expect her to really belong to anyone then?